What's up, YouTube? I'm Ed.
I'm Kate.
We're Coffin's Critters. We're back in another episode. This time, we're going to kind of gear this toward your first-time reptile buyer. You're going into a show, or maybe it's not your first time. It could be you have 2 or 3 at home that you're looking to add.
Or you've just done research and you've got your setup all ready to go, and now you're trying to find your friend.
Yeah, so you go to their either local reptile expo or you go to a big reptile expo. Some of the best we just came back from this past weekend was the Sears show in Duluth.
Yeah,
Bob's show.
Blue's show, which is
Probably-
incredibly run, a huge variety of animals. It's
Yeah.
great to be at.
Bob and Mary and the team, our hats are off to you. You guys do an absolutely stunning job. I personally have never been to a better show. Unfortunately, Kate never got to go with us to a couple of the national shows to vend.
Somebody's got to stay home and watch the babies.
But I personally have never been to a better show than Bob and Mary's. So if you're ever able to go to the Sears show, the next one's going to be
End of January.
Yeah,
I think it's
and
the
January 30th and 31st. It's definitely a to-do on your list.
But even if you're local, we're just kind of going to go over like what things you may ask or what you're looking for, and we're just going to dive into that.
Yeah, what you're walking into your first reptile show or your second, third, whatever, and you're looking at different breeders, different vendors. What are we going to look for? What's the best to look for? Here's a couple of questions that we kind of thought up, and it may or may not help you, but this is kind of what we thought in our minds when we were first going.
And I was not prepared when I first went. I was not looking. I was there to tell them they couldn't have it, and now here we are. So I didn't have my questions prepared. I just found my boy, but we'll dig into that.
We'll be back. All right, so welcome back. We got a couple of questions. We're going to pretty much do, like we said, a Q&A session, if you will. So I'm going to ask Kate, as an established reptile breeder of a couple of years, what we should look for, what you, as your potential first reptile, you should look for. So I'm going to ask Kate, as a new reptile buyer, what do you look for in a breeder? And I need you to limit to 3 items.
Okay, if I was new and I didn't know anybody there, or maybe I had only seen them online or something, one thing I would look for, not specifically presentation per se, but cleanliness of like the table and the animal. I would just want to make sure that everything looked clean and sterile, because that's where you're getting your new little baby from. You want to make sure that it's good like that. Secondly, I would look to make sure that the animals look healthy. And what I mean by that, I would say, I would hope that the reptile expo people would have checked for this and checked animals, but that there's no little extra buddies tagging along. You don't want mites in your collection. So, I would kind of look by their eyes and just see if there's anything moving. Yes, bananas have spots, so don't freak out if you see spots on a banana. But make sure there's no little moving critters, because that is a big bad no-no. I would also make sure that they look healthy, like a good weight, not a big spine showing like they're underweight. Sometimes they're in blue, so I wouldn't worry about that, but like stuck shed, anything that indicates that they haven't been properly cared for or fed. So those would be my 3.
All right. So the second question we need to ask as a new reptile potential buyer is, what are some things that would turn you away from a breeder at a reptile expo? Also limit your answer to 3 items.
One would be nobody's paying attention to me. If they're not busy, sometimes people get busy and they just can't see everyone all the time. But if you're one of the only people there and you're looking at these breeders and nobody's looked up, they're on their phone or talking to other people that are not shopping for their animal, and they're just completely ignoring you. There's no reason for that. Something else, and it's kind of what I said before, things aren't looking good. Maybe it's not clean. There's waste around the animals have that shed or just don't look good. That would turn me away for sure. I probably, just knowing what I know now, would probably stay away from people that have tons of different things. I mean, not all breeders are specific to one type of animal, but it may be a breeder that just has all kinds of stuff everywhere, because maybe they are not having captive bred, maybe wild caught mixed in there. They don't, they're flipping, so they don't know where the animal came from. They have no background on it. They don't know its health. They may not even know its pairing or anything like that, so you don't really know what you're ending up with. Some of those people are really good, but you would have to ask your questions and get the proper answers to do that.
Yeah. And another question, what information do you expect to be given after purchasing your reptile from a breeder? Limit your answer to 3 items.
If I was new, I would want to know what the husbandry was. So, like temperatures and humidity, stuff like that. How to set up the enclosure. I would want to know what they're eating, what type of prey, whether it's mouse, rat, ASF, live, frozen, thawed. I need to know that. And also, that was 2, right?
That was 3.
Oh, well, last time they ate, I'd want to know that, so I'd want to know when to feed them.
Very important. The next question, what kind of a relationship do you expect with the breeder after you purchase your new animal? And limit your response to 3 items.
Some people we never hear from again, but we always encourage that. If anybody has any questions on anything, we want you to know that you can follow up with us. So I would look for someone that is willing to help you out if you have questions, and encourages that. I would look for a breeder that is kind to me, and if you are asking questions, even if you're not purchasing, that they give you all the knowledge that they can. And I, as a breeder, hope that you would ask if it would be okay if they send pictures to follow up on the animals, because I do love follow-ups on the babies. So never feel bad about sending me a quick picture saying our baby's doing good, because I put a lot of love into those babies.
And the last question is, if your expectations from the previous sale or breeder weren't met, would you buy your dream animal from the same breeder again? Yes or no, and why?
I guess it would really depend. Was it just like they're not a people person and I didn't care for them, but the animal is great, like it's in good condition, no issues, it's a great eater, I didn't have any trouble transitioning it, then I could deal with someone having a lack of personality. But if I had bought something that turned out to be sick, and they didn't do anything about that when we reached out, because we do test all of our animals, and we would hope that you guys do that too, besides just quarantining. So I probably would not do that again unless they had no knowledge of that and they made the situation right. I don't know. I think it would all depend on the animal and what it was that was holding me back. But if I found out, something not good about the animal, I would not repeat. But if it was just a preference of who I was buying it from, I don't think it would matter to me as long as the animal was healthy.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we're back. We're going to go over the same questions that Ed asked me. I'm asking him. So, for you, as a new reptile buyer, what would you look for in a breeder?
So the three answers I would give is I walk into a booth. I look for a lot like what Kate said, cleanliness. I'm going to look to make sure there's no feces, no urate in with the animal. It's not all over the displays, as well as he or she doesn't have an abundance of deli cups. Also looked like they've had their 55th animal in it. The second thing,
Not hold. Not to say anything is bad with deli cups, because we do some cup diving ourselves, but that they're clean.
correct. But when we put the deli cups out, these are generally your $20-$30 animals that they're just not what everybody's looking for when it comes to genes. They're not expressing the highest traits amongst what most are looking for. It's what we call deli cup deals. But they're also clean. They're the first time use on it, and that's it. So number two would be that they're properly advertised. They don't need to have lights, glim, and glamour, but they do need to be properly advertised, because if I'm going to buy an animal from somebody, I need to know who I'm going to buy an animal from. And number three is a lot like what Kate said. If I walk up to your booth and start looking at an animal and see that, hey, I really like this animal, and I look over and you're talking to whomever, other breeder, other vendor, looking at your phone, not paying any attention to me, it's a pretty big turnoff. If I'm not worth your time, then
You're not worth my money.
You're not worth my money. I've actually went to a couple of different breeders and actually had a word with them afterward. I'm very outspoken and I'm very direct. I didn't buy the animal, and it was one of my animals that I wanted. So that would be my three.
What are some things that would turn you away from a breeder at a reptile show?
One of the things that I had already mentioned, if I walk up and you're not paying attention to me, not giving me any attention whatsoever, not that I deserve that, especially if you have 700 other people at your booth. But if I'm the only one at your booth and you're over there talking to another breeder, that's going to turn me away. Number two is probably, I forgot the question.
What would turn you away from a breeder at a reptile show?
Sorry, I was all in my thoughts. If by chance they're a used car salesman, this is a huge turnoff to me.
Yeah.
Don't try to be a used car salesman. Don't try to talk some smack that clearly it sounds like you don't even know what you're talking about.
Trying to push an animal that you're not interested in.
Yeah, and because you've got 8-10 different displays full of cool animals, but clearly you're just in it to make a buck, and your passion's gone. I'm not trying to buy a brand new, or a used 2024 Ford, F-150. Don't be a used car salesman. That's a huge turnoff to me. And the last thing, if as a new reptile purchaser, if I want to hold the animal, in your policy, maybe we're not going to let you hold that animal. Explain to me why. I'm I'm very alert and conscious to the possibility of bad things to happen to this animal, especially my brand new animal. But explain it to me, because I've walked through the animal or through the reptile expo and may have held 17 animals, boas, retics, ball pythons, and everything else. Explain to me why. There's diseases that can be contracted and spread through contact, with or without your hand sanitizer, your alcohol. Explain that to me.
So you're looking for kindness, knowledge with kindness.
Correct.
What information do you expect to be given after purchasing?
So my 3 is I'm going to need to know last time it was fed, what you kept it in, as opposed to what I'm going to keep it in. And if I'm going to keep it in, this seems to be the norm. And we would advise against this. But it's an aquarium. Whether it's a 10 gallon, a 20 gallon, or a 40 or 50 gallon aquarium, hey, I plan to keep it into this. Here's the picture of my enclosure. I've thermal regulated it 5 times, 10 times, 100 times. What would you advise me to do with the animal? If I have a hide on both sides, some clutter, 3 sides out of 4 blacked out, the top with HVAC tape, a under tank heater regulated with a thermostat. Advise against that. Advise against, because that animal's health, safety, and well-being, that animal flourished in your rack system, but it may not flourish in my setup.
So not necessarily saying that you need a rack system, but if they are leaning towards a different way, the knowledge on how to do it to the best of
Correct.
their ability to get it up where it needs to be. Good. What kind of relationship do you expect with the breeder after purchase?
So, because this animal can live in captivity for up to 30 years or more, this is a long-term commitment. I'm 48. 30 years from now, maybe 78. Will I keep reptiles at 78? I don't know. I don't even know if I'll be alive. However, if my kids acquire that sense of, hey, this is super cool, I want to do this too, and we pass these reptiles on, I want a relationship with a breeder that if I have questions, hey, I followed all of the information you gave me. I waited 7 to 10 days or a week to 2 weeks for this animal to get comfortable in its surroundings. I offered food. It's not taking food. What should I do? That relationship of the breeder that communicates back, tries to help me mitigate through the adversities of this animal, whether it's not eating, whether it's having a bad shed cycle, whether it's acting wonky. I don't know, but if I purchase an animal, whether that would be a $40 animal or a $40,000 animal, can I contact you with any questions moving forward on the health, safety, and well-being of this animal?
Good. If your expectations from a previous sale breeder weren't met, would you buy your dream animal from them from the same breeder? Yes, no?
Absolutely not. I am a firm believer that trust is earned and not given. If I purchase an animal from you the first time and you have not done your part as a breeder and selling me an animal that I had problems with, I had issues with, along the way, thankfully for us or me or whomever, have found a way to mitigate and go through those problems, and now it's thriving. you're the last table I'll ever visit at a reptile show. And it wouldn't matter to me if you had a $100,000 animal on your table and you were offering it to me for $20.
Got it. So something that you just someone that will troubleshoot if there is issues. Hopefully there are no issues, but
Yeah.
good. I think that covers everything. We're gonna pause and we'll come back together.
All right, we're back. That was kind of a Q&A of as a first-time reptile breeder, or I'm sorry, purchaser, what we would kind of expect. We've ran our starting back in 2022 when we first started going to some of these reptile expos and shows, kind of what we've seen.
We looked for people that when we approached would talk to us, they would answer our questions. We're still asking questions. So we encourage you to ask and ask away. I know I've talked to someone online and troubleshot questions and got their snake healthy for them that I don't know. They never bought that snake from me, but like animal health and well-being is first and foremost, most important to us. If you're buying from us, we want you to be comfortable with your animal, comfortable with us, because hopefully you'll be a return customer or refer someone to us because your experience was so good. The last thing we want is for someone not to have a good experience, because we've been there, we've had that happen. And just ask the right questions. So like I said with mine, I just was drawn in. He was just a GHI, and you guys know about Corbin probably if you've ever heard me talk before. But I was just drawn in. I had to have that boy, and thankfully there was no issues because I didn't really ask anything. Ed had done a lot of research before we went there, but I wasn't looking to pick up anything for myself. So
Little did we know.
that I'm obsessed and I'm the crazy snake mama, like literally I'm crazy.
Which is better than the crazy cat lady.
Yeah, but so we just encourage you to ask away, and then take that knowledge and put it to use so that you've got a happy baby. We don't know everything. If we don't know, we're going to point you in a direction of someone that does, something that we always suggest to new people. And I've probably texted people this too. We love the page New Ball Python Keepers. So in addition to us, they've got it already laid out. There is guides for everything. It's a safe space. There's lots of groups that are terrible, that are mean, that are just like degrading. Like, why are you asking this? And you're just trying to do better for your animal. And people say, you need to do your research. Well, you probably did, but there's conflicting answers out there. So don't ever be afraid. And there's no stupid questions. We would like you to know your animal.
Yeah, this is an animal, a living being.
We just want you to know that we stand behind our animals and their health, and we want you to be happy with your purchase, happy with us, and that we're here to help that happen for you.
Even if it's not us, if it's the Noodle Group, or if it's another, Flawless, or whomever you may see, Bob, you may see Chad Holker, you may see Canova, you may see Rice, you may see whoever. Have that good experience. Ask those questions. Make sure the purchase that you're making, one, fits your budget, two, fits the enclosure you have, and ultimately make sure that relationship that you carry on afterward, after the purchase, is good to go.
Hope this helps. If you are looking for a new animal and you're not ready to purchase yet, by all means reach out ahead of time too. We love someone that's already prepared. But thanks for joining us and listening. If you do have questions, or you have, as always, we always ask if there's certain things you want to see in another video, please reach out, let us know. We're always looking for ideas and what you want to know.
Like, share, and subscribe.